Okay.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Please, Councillor Schultz. All in favor? Carried. Minutes from the regular meeting, May 11th, 2020. Any questions, Greg?
Nope. No, everything looked good. If nobody's got any concerns, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the previous minutes as presented.
Nice.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, if I could get a motion to adjourn the regular meeting so we can go into public hearing. Councillor Cutler? All in favor? Carried. And a motion to open the public hearing for Bylaw 1689, the Land Use Bylaw Amendment. Councillor Carlson? All in favor? Carried. Okay, Marion, you have a letter.
Yes, so I'll just present the bylaw. At the January 13th council meeting, council gave first reading to bylaw 1689, which was a bylaw to amend for the redesignation of two closed roadways, one walkway and one roadway. And the one had already been consolidated previously, but it was still designated in the on land titles. Now that road closure bylaw has been passed May 11th, we are now able to do the redistricting. So prior to giving second and third reading to bylaw 1689, we require a public hearing to be held, which is happening tonight. So we did have one comment submitted for the public hearing, and I'll just read that to you. The resident was unable to be in attendance tonight, so I'll read his comments. Claresholm Council members, I would like to make a statement regarding the land use for the walkway between 6th Street and 7th Street Alley. I think it was a mistake to close the walkway. I was out of the country, missing the opportunity to speak on it. But now that it is, there are a few things I would like to say. The town of Claresholm is a walking town. The last few years, we have seen expansion of the pathway system, and it is a big part of the reason why people move here. Outdoor opportunities. On any given day, there are lots of people out and about that walk all over town. During inclement weather, some move to the indoor walking group to stay active. I think it would be short-sighted to eliminate this property at this time to private ownership. This walkway has been heavily utilized by the schools and their walking groups and by the general public for over 40 years and leads to West Hill Park. Once the property is private, it would make it very difficult to bring back into the path system. Except for gates, fencing on each end, total of 20 feet, there is little cost to the town to keep it, while it could be a large loss to eliminate it. There may be an issue with dogs on each side, which I do not agree with, and I live right at it, of the path, but closing it off will have the exact same effect as selling it, and the town keeps it with little to no expense and keeps control of it to ensure the water flow. In summation, I feel it would be best if the town kept the property in question and closed it off, thus giving future opportunity for connecting to the pathway system. Thank you for your time, Rick Batchelor. Those were the only comments we received.
Okay, any comments?
Can I have a comment, please,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor? I thought that one of the reasons we were closing that walkway was it was hazardous at certain times of the year and being slippery, and the drainage wasn't great there. Or wasn't that the reason, the main reason why we were closing it?
Do you want me to speak to that, Mayor?
Sorry, Marion. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I believe it was never intended as a walkway. It was a drainage course, but has been, I think there has been some people in the area that did use it as a walkway, but there is some concern there because of the drainage that runs through there and the freeze and thaw through the winter months, for sure. That was part of the discussion. The other was that it dead ends into an alley. It's not really a walkway, like it goes right into the alley. So
So you gotta walk one way or the other in the alley. So what's the difference between the alley and the street?
That's true enough. My only question is, by closing it and allowing it to be absorbed in the property beside it, are they going to keep the concrete so the drainage is there for that alley?
yes. Now, just for clarification, you have already closed it. You've already closed the roadway when you passed.
Already
it.
closed. I've just got a question about the drainage. Yeah.
So this is for the redesignation of the land. Sorry, I should have spoke to that a little clearer, I guess. It's for the redesignation of the land from roadway to single detached residential in both of those places. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So there would be a requirement for an easement for that drainage on that property.
Okay. I thought so. I just couldn't remember from the previous meeting. So is there any other comments?
No,
Now there is a part two. You'll go ahead, Brad.
I'll make that motion, the first motion.
Well, before you do that, is there not, there's a second part to this, Marion?
Okay.
Well, there's two. So the closed walkway between lot 41 and 42, and the second is a closed roadway, and that's up on the Patterson, east of the Patterson Park area. That was just, it's sort of an old roadway that was already consolidated into the title, but was never redesignated under the land use bylaw.
So the motion, whoever wants to make that motion will include both pieces.
So the,
Councilor Schlossberger?
No, excuse me, Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
There's 3 parts.
The motion for these bylaws in the public hearing. We wait to come out of the public hearing.
Come out.
Oh, right. I forgot. We're still in the public hearing.
Yeah. And
Is there any other comments for the public hearing that you guys want to throw out there?
can I just make one more comment? Both of those redesignations are within the bylaw. So it's the bylaw itself just requires the second and third reading.
Yeah.
so that the little gap between 41 and 42 gets what's the word I'm looking for? Not resolved.
Consolidated.
Yeah, that's the word. Between the two properties.
No, it's going into one property.
Just the one property, yeah. Well, if there's no more comments, could I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I can make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Moore? All in favor? Opposed? Councilor Zimmer?
Hello?
Are you opposed or in favor?
In favor of.
Okay, carried. And if we could get a motion to reconvene the regular council meeting. Councilor Schlossberger? All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we will entertain the second reading. Who would like to do that? Councilor Schlossberger? Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to give bylaw number 1689 a land use bylaw amendment, second reading.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, who would like to make third? Councillor Carlson. Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to give bylaw number 1689 a land use bylaw amendment, third and final reading.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaw 1690, land use bylaw amendment, first reading. Marion. You have to turn some volume on, Marion.
Forgot to unmute, sorry about that. So bylaw 1690 is presented. The town has been working on correcting some alignment with the storm pond and access in behind Cottonwood, to the east of Cottonwood. And so this is to clean up that property. As the property sold and the Cottonwood building was constructed, there was a long remnant parcel that remained. And now that we have completed the subdivision of that parcel, the land use districts to designate and reorganize from direct control to R1 residential and R4 public, R1 and R4 for residential purposes, and then the public portion that would be for the storm pond, as well as the town's road plan, which would have no zoning because it is a roadway. So we're presenting this bylaw for first reading this evening, and prior to giving second and third reading to that bylaw, we will require to hold a public hearing.
Any questions?
No.
If there's no questions, would somebody like to make a motion? Councillor Schlossberger. Question.
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to give bylaw number 1690, a land use bylaw amendment, first reading.
All in favor? Carried. Bylaw 1705, the fire protection bylaw, second and third reading. Marion.
All right, so on May 11th, council gave first reading to bylaw 1705 and its fire protection bylaw. And in that bylaw, the changes are basically to allow for burning permits to be issued for agricultural transitional, which is the lands within the annexed area, as well as direct control. So direct control district would be where we have the burn pile over the east end of town as well, so that we can do open burns there. So the changes to the bylaw were highlighted, as I said. First reading was given on May 1st. We're now looking for second and third reading this evening.
Any questions?
No.
Good. Would somebody like to make second reading? Councillor Carlson. Question.
Moved by Councillor Carlson to give bylaw number 1705, the fire protection bylaw, second reading.
All in favor? Carried. Would somebody like to make third reading?
I can make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Schultz beat you to it. Question.
Moved by Councillor Schultz to give bylaw number 1705, the fire protection bylaw, third and final reading.
All in favor? Carried. Moving on to bylaw 1706, the land use bylaw amendment, first reading. Marion.
All right, so just let me get to that, sorry. All right, so bylaw 1706 is, there's an application for a rezoning of a property located at 735 51st Avenue West. They want to rezone that property from R4, which is multiple residential, to R5 apartments. The applicant is proposing to construct an apartment structure with 12 to 16 units on that property. It does fit all of the minimum requirements as per the R5 zoning. Any proposed use in the development structures would be dealt with through the land use bylaw after the rezoning takes place. And at that time, they would deal with items such as parking, setbacks, landscaping, all of those kind of things. We asked Gavin Scott, our planner, to provide comment, and his comments were that the proposal meets the goals, objectives, and policies of the municipal development plan, and specifically it meets policies 3.4.5, 3.4.7, and 3.4.12. As such, I have no objection to this proposal moving forward. So once again, this is a land use bylaw amendment, so we would be looking for first reading this evening, and then prior to second and third reading, we would be required to hold a public hearing.
Any questions? If there's no questions, would somebody like to make first reading?
I'd like to move to give the first reading at 1706.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer. Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to give bylaw number 1706 a land use bylaw amendment, first reading.
All in favor? Carried. Number 5, correspondence from the Honorable K.C. Madhu, Minister of Municipal Affairs, the 2020 MSI allocations. Marion.
Yes, so this is just confirmation of what our allocations are for 2020, and they are what we anticipated having and have put in our budget. So our capital allocation is $816,044, and our MSI operating is $124,966. Now, this includes $88,031 in sustainable investment funding. So I do need to clarify what that means, but I have a call this week with Municipal Affairs for clarification on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll take it for information at this time. And moving on, correspondence, Alberta Seniors and Housing Seniors Week, June 1st to 7th. Marion, are we doing anything like advertising or anything for this?
We normally put something in the paper that week and recognize the contribution the seniors make to our community.
Okay, so we'll take that for information. Number 7, the request for decision. Request for tax waiver, Royal Canadian Legion. Marion.
All right, so annually we have organizations within the community that apply to council after the taxes are levied for a waiver of the municipal portion of the taxes. So the Legion has received forgiveness or waiver of those taxes since 2012, and they're applying again this year, and the amount of their request for 2020 is $1,238.96.
Any questions?
Nope.
I could get a motion. Councillor Carlson. Question.
Moved by Councillor Carlson to cancel the municipal portion of the 2020 property taxes levied on the property located at 414 53rd Avenue East in the amount of $1,238.96.
All in favor? Carried. Number 8, request for decision, Regional Assessment Review Board. Marion.
Okay, so at the last meeting, council gave second and third reading to bylaw 1704, which is the new Regional Assessment Review Board bylaw that we amended as a follow-up to our map review. We have participated in that Regional Assessment Review Board since 2015. Now that the bylaw has received third and final reading, a motion is required, first of all, to enter into the agreement that is identified in the bylaw. Second would be to appoint the clerk, and the third motion required is to appoint the chairman. So those motions are there for your consideration. Lenz Kuiper, who is the executive director for Old Man River, is being appointed as the clerk, and Doug Kemery has agreed to act as chairman of the board.
Any questions? Can I get a motion to enter into the agreement? Councillor Schultz. Question.
Moved by Councillor Schultz to enter into the agreement for assessment review services with the Old Man River Regional Services Commission as presented.
All in favor? Carried. And a motion to appoint Lenz as the clerk. Councillor Cutler. Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to appoint Lenz Kuiper as the clerk of the Regional Assessment Review Board.
All in favor? Carried. And the final one, to appoint Doug Kemery, the chairman of the Regional Assessment.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Doug Kemery as the chairman.
Councillor Zimmer. Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to appoint Doug Kemery as the chairman of the Regional Assessment Review Board.
All in favor? Carried. Moving on. Number 9, information brief, Amundsen Park update. This is the new plans for it. Marion?
Yes, so we just wanted to present to council the final drawings for the proposed plan for Amundsen Park upgrades. This has been circulated to the park committee and has been approved by them. Now, both the Kinsman and the Lions Club have applications pending for grants for a portion of the construction, and they're hoping that that will commence in spring of 2021, subject to those grants being approved. We'll continue to look for additional funding sources or partnerships to be able to do the remaining phases. So the redevelopment has been broken into 3 phases, and I won't go through all those phases, but that's again been approved by the committee. And we do have applications in place for phase 1, which is the playground, which was in partnership with the Kinsman, if that grant's successful. Then the gazebo, which again, a grant application through the Lions Club. And then we have some minor plantings that would take place, and we've made an application for our Fortis tree grant, and that was approved. I believe we're able to hold that over, and if not, we may need to plant some of those this year. But
Okay. Any questions? Observations?
Looks good.
Yeah, looks great.
Okay. Moving on. Information Chamber of Commerce SIP grant. Marion?
yes, so council passed a motion to send a letter of support for the SIP grant for the Chamber of Commerce was applying to assist in doing additional wayfinding signage. That was at the May 11th council meeting. On May 12th, we had a news release come out from the province that the project-based and operating-based funding streams had been canceled for the program, and they are reallocating that money to project-based grants that would help with the frontline charities and nonprofits during COVID. So with that information, the Chamber of Commerce did not submit their application. So we just wanted to make sure that council was aware of that. And we will continue with the wayfinding project. We'll just work within the budget that was allocated under the economic development budget.
Any questions on that? Okay, the next one, Information brief, CAO report. Were there any questions come out of that?
Nope.
Information brief.
Everybody.
Pardon?
I was just going to say thank you to everybody who does their job and does it so well. Thank you.
We of course have the information brief, council resolution status. Any questions out of there? Everything's straightforward. And finally, if we could get a motion to adopt the information items.
I'll make that motion to adopt the information items as presented.
Councillor Zimmer, question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to adopt the information items as presented.
All in favor? Carried. And Mr. Carlson, you have a motion to adjourn?
I don't believe so this evening,
Okay.
but I will anyways.
You will, will you? Okay, we are adjourned.
27
Could I have the camera off, please?